which is being a pain in the butt. So we're going to see if this works. I got it unlisted right now. I'm just doing a sound check. So let's see what we got. Sound check. Oh, well, there we go. Sound check worked. So we're going to switch this to public. And we're going to switch this to on. Very sorry about that. Not sure why. That has happened in the past. It's very much a pain in the butt. So please accept my apologies. But it looks like we have the sound working now. Thank you, everybody, for being here and joining. I apologize for the sound issues. I hope that you guys enjoyed my posts, especially about Glenview, Illinois. I had an awesome chance to attend a virtual discussion on the historical taverns of Glenview, one of which actually seconded or had life as both a tavern and a Masonic temple and a Masonic lodge hall, which was really, really cool. All right, so we're just going to hang out. We're going to wait to see who joins. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Once again, as always, very sorry for technical difficulties. And if you guys are able to hear me now, let me know. I look forward to working with you guys tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead at the Windsor Masonic Temple. It is a pay what you can night, which is pretty incredible. Talk about an awesome thing for a production company to do, to actually say it's pay as you can or pay what you can. I think that's you. Thank you for being here as always. Behind me, it's hard, but I have some newspaper clippings with reference Freemasonry in Glenview. So, but Courtney, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope your day is going well. And let me know if you have any thoughts, anything you want to talk about. By the way, if you guys don't have Letterboxd, find me on Letterboxd. One thing I'm going to start to do very shortly is do an actual ranking of my favorite Masonic movies. So that should be a lot of fun. No worries. Is that what I am? No legs, Greg? I've been called worse, so I'll take it. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you'll hit that like and subscribe button, as always. And let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. Actually, this is an interesting question worth asking, I think. What year did Freemasonry begin? Asked Crow's Milk. That's a good question because it depends. There's a couple different possibilities. The first speculative Freemasons date to 1634 in Scotland. So you could argue 1634 Scotland, or you could argue 1717, June 24th specifically, is when the first Grand Lodge was formed, the Grand Lodge of England, United, at the time called Premier Grand Lodge of England, later renamed to the United Grand Lodge of England. Oh, can everybody see me? Let me know if you can see me or not. I feel like it's being funky right now. At least my computer's being funky. I hope yours is going well. Alexander, YouTube. Are you on YouTube, Alexander? If so, I mean, I don't know your channel, so this isn't necessarily a plug for it, but I will say people should check it out. And if he is on YouTube and you like his content, I'm assuming Alexander, subscribe. So it's unfortunate you have a negative view of Freemasonry. I'm very sorry to hear that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of social media stuff that is encouraging these negative views. What I'd say is I've been a Freemason for 20 years. I have my problems with Freemasonry from an organizational standpoint. I think very often these organizations, the rules, the regulations are causing a lot of harm and difficulty for Freemasonry. But I think the principles and tenets and basic ideas are very positive. And I think ultimately the world is a better place with Freemasonry in it. So I guess that's what I would say, Alexander. I've seen it help people. I've seen it keep people in their homes. I've seen it help families. I've seen the charitable acts and charitable activities from Masons, all of which are pretty incredible. For example, just one example very recently that I can provide. Unfortunately, Courtney, I don't think they have them as much as I'd like. I'm sure they do as well, but I don't think they have as many. There are, hundreds of Masonic books out there. How many of them make it into libraries, That's my concern. That's my fear. Freemasons are not satanic, nor are they a cult. Whether I'm trans or not is irrelevant. I'm just trying to find it now. I had it a second ago, and I've lost it. The Masonic Charitable Foundation announced that on behalf of the Metropolitan Grand Lodge of London Freemasons, they awarded £59,224 to Community Drug and Alcohol Recovery Services, CDARS, in support of the Neurodiversity Home Engagement Program, supporting young neurodivergent clients who struggle to get out of the house and access mental health and neurodiversity support. It's not satanic because it's not a religion of any sort, satanic or otherwise. I've been a Freemason for 20 years, have never seen or heard Satan brought up in any context at any time, nor Baal, nor Baphomet, nor all that nonsense you see on social media. Someone's been reading too much Albert Pike and not understanding what it means. We do not worship anything. Freemasonry is not a system of worship, including Lucifer or Jezebel. We do not worship Lucifer, the light bearer, which is also, again, something you don't understand. And yes, let me correct you. 33rd degrees is not the highest degree in Freemasonry. The highest degree in Freemasonry is the 3rd degree in Freemasonry. Improv, please hit like and subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Whatever you say, please hit like and subscribe. Oh, sorry. 9-inch. I am a pretty high tier Mason in that I've been about as active as you can be, and I've been as involved as you can be, not just in Canada, but in the Philippines, in America, and around the world. I'm grateful for that. But if I'm low tier, I would shudder to think what you need to be high tier, how much work and effort you'd have to put in. I've literally traveled around the world with and for Freemasonry. And I'm grateful for it as well. I don't know if that's true or not. Catholicism is cool. I think it would probably depend on how you. My suspicion is it depends on how you define charitable organization, right? Religious and charity are different things, though religions can be charitable, by definition, right? What is a Masonic book? I mean, a book dealing with Freemasonry. A good example of that would be the one I always recommend to people wanting to learn more about Freemasonry is Freemasonry for Dummies by Chris Hodap. It's a great book, and it does a great job at explaining what Freemasonry is in both the historical and modern context. Never been to Thailand. Feel like you're trying to imply something. I don't know exactly, but I did love the Philippines. Also Rio de Janeiro. Also all across America. Texas, California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, California, Florida. I've been grateful to attend Masonic meetings in all of those locations. And I hope to make it back soon. This man has a 145 IQ. I don't know if that's good or not because I have no idea what 145 IQ is. What is the largest charitable organization in the world? So, according to AI, the Catholic Church is widely considered to be the largest non-governmental charitable organization in the world. Um, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the largest private philanthropic foundation by endowment, but the Catholic Church's overall spending likely exceeds it. All right, so according to Google AI, the Catholic Church is the largest non-governmental charitable organization in the world. Um, I don't know anything about missing or killed top scientists, although I suppose that's the type of thing you say, and then people start to think you're doing something with it. I know nothing about it. My general advice, though, in life is, as a general rule, never assume conspiracy. It could just be some type of coincidence. We just don't know. You want to be really careful the extent to which you start to assume kind of these things. Um, well, if I suck, why are you here? We had 13, now we're at 12. I am seeing a lot of growth in my channel, though. Yesterday was the largest single day of viewership I've ever had, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much for that. And I might surpass that today. I don't know. We'll see. No, but the Catholic Church does a lot of other charitable activities. It doesn't shock me that the Catholic Church is the largest charitable organization. But I think also you have to be careful. Sometimes I worry about conflating charitable activities with religious activities because I think the two can sometimes get conflated, which can be, I think, dangerous. Um, it's not slandering. Well, thank you for that, Courtney. I appreciate that very much. Calm down, level up. I love being Canadian, greatest country in the world, in part because we have the greatest neighbors in the world. Um, but I do wish we had way more. Going back to my poll question, it is, after all, National Libraries Week. I do wish we had way more Masonic books in libraries. It's unfortunate how many libraries don't have any Masonic books. I'd love to see Masonic sections in them. I think it'd be really cool. And maybe one day, I mean, I think as Masons, one thing we could do or consider doing is contact our local libraries and ask them to stock Masonic books or a Masonic section or donate Masonic books to libraries. Might be not a bad thing to do. That's awesome, Catholicism. That's a great example of charity. That's really cool. You should be proud of yourself for volunteering at a food bank. Nothing but respect for that. Austin, I do not. My vice is caffeine, although I am drinking more water nowadays. Warhammer, YouTube may be blocking them. Don't say anything foolish. But also keep in mind, I don't see every, I'm not going to see every comment anyways, right? Like, this isn't rocket science, this isn't brain surgery, but running a live stream can be difficult, for the record. There's not so many secrets in Freemasonry, there's private information. The purpose of maintaining the privacy is to maintain the bonds of brotherhood between present, past, and future generations. No different than a family recipe. People kind of get sick of me talking about that, but that's what it is. But I like to eat. Eating is delicious. I have nothing to do with the Vatican Library, nor to any Freemasons. That's a whole separate organization. Um, I mean, I would love to access the Vatican Library, just not from a religious perspective, just from a historical perspective and someone who loves history and loves research. I think it'd be so incredibly cool to see the Vatican Library. I can only imagine the amazing texts and books located inside of it. Um, I mean, if I ever make it to the Vatican, I would love to visit that library. I don't know if you have to set up a time in advance. I'm a Freemason and proud of it, so I know that they may not be a huge fan of that, but I suspect they still let me visit it, despite my Masonic roots, if they open it up to anybody. Well, Catholicism, as somebody who is a Freemason, believe me, I get your frustration about conspiracy theorists saying bad things about you. They say a lot of bad things about Freemasons too, believe me. Well, Mormonism, I mean, the founder of Mormonism was himself a Freemason, right? Joseph Smith, excuse me. So that is the case. I don't know enough about Mormonism to speak on it, other than, if you're a Mormon, you'd be welcome as a Freemason, without a doubt. I mean, most buildings don't have libraries, which is really unfortunate, but I did a list earlier of 10 Masonic libraries in honor of National Library Week. England has a really fancy one, Philadelphia. I always suggest, though, even if you have a really small Masonic building, like let's say you have a single room or two rooms and that's it, you can still put up a bookshelf and you can still fill it with books and create your own mini library and then, use that library to encourage Masonic reading and Masonic knowledge. It'd be a really cool thing to do, in my humble opinion. No, Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism are different, although many Rosicrucians become Freemasons, or vice versa. Like there's a lot of overlap, and a lot of overlap in the philosophies as well. Like Rose Qua is what I am, which is part of Scottish Rite. But ultimately, Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism are different organizations. Well, it's all for the building up of our communities, which I suppose would be the building up of man. Um, I do think as a Freemason, it is absolutely possible to learn ethical skills which help make us better. Maybe not in a religious or spiritual sense, but in a practical sense. Better neighbors, better friends, better family members, better community members, better employees, better brothers. I think that is without a doubt possible through Freemasonry. Whoa, whatever you say. You need to calm down a little bit. Having said that, Catholicism, you're not going to convert anybody. That's not what you should be doing. You should be respecting people's religious beliefs and what they are. Whatever you say, I'm going to put you in a timeout for 5 minutes because you need to calm down. No calling anybody names. Catholicism is cool. I'm going to put you in a timeout for 1 minute. So everybody can calm down a little bit. But no conversion on this stream. How can Freemasonry serve as a vital framework for preserving authentic communication? That's a really, really good question. I think the thing about artificial intelligence, right, is it's a good tool. I'm not afraid of it the way a lot of people are, because in my experience, technology more often than not has actually been good for humanity, much more so than otherwise, right? So I think it doesn't scare me as much as everybody else. What concerns me, though, is people will start to think to themselves that artificial intelligence is a decent, replacement for human interaction. I think Freemasonry, at its best, can remind people that despite technological advancements, we still need face to face human interaction. That's just not something that we can get from artificial intelligence. And that could include, by the way, face to face through Zoom screens. I just mean human to human speech or human to human communication. Doesn't have to be necessarily in person, right? Ultimately, an artificial intelligence, I don't think is at the stage now. I mean, never be at the stage where it can adequately replace human contact and human communication. So I think Freemasonry reminds people of that. Reminds people of, no, we need you here. We need you. People need to see other people and need to feel like they're part of other people's lives beyond simply an algorithm telling you that, you need more than just an algorithm telling you you're special, if that makes any sense. I mean, I think we can adapt AI in a lot of ways. I think it makes an excellent research tool, an excellent research assistant, without any doubt. I think some of the tools can be used to perhaps streamline Masonic meetings in some way. Like you can, maybe record a meeting. Well, actually, you shouldn't record a meeting. You can, you know, take your minutes, put them into AI, and AI can help edit them and make them more readable and more easily understandable. The danger is when we start to treat AI as though it's a replacement for human contact or for brotherly love. Um, you weren't banned. You weren't banned. You were put in a timeout, but we don't talk about conversion of any sort. Um, I put the other guy in timeout for longer, for the record. Yo, what's happening, outsider? Honestly, the cipher, there is one way to live longer already, and that's to become a Freemason. And I'm not being sarcastic about that. All the studies I've seen, including one from Texas, shows that to be a Freemason gives you longer life expectancy, which isn't shocking because the Governor General put out a report a few years ago indicating that one of the biggest epidemics to hit Americans was and is loneliness and a lack of connection. And that actually had significant health effects, even greater than smoking, drinking, or other traditionally unhealthy activities. So I thought that was really cool. And I think it does make sense, therefore, that we as Freemasons would have longer life expectancy. Um, well, the Israeli-Palestine situation is, I mean, I'm a member of a lodge in Israel. Having said that, I think it's fairly obvious that the government of Israel is being pretty terrible right now, to put it lightly. It's not something, that's a political question. I will say I'm a two-stater. I think we need an Israeli state and a Palestinian state. And I think the government of Israel, many of them have acted in absolutely criminal and unconscionable ways. That does reflect on the people, but that does reflect on the government. Um, Hello, Jeremy. Thank you for being here. Please take a moment, hit the like button, and let me know how it's going. I hope you're having a good day. I was planning to do maybe a fundraiser tomorrow, an income raiser tomorrow, see if I can get some more people joining my Patreon. I was hoping to maybe see, because I have some events coming up I really want to get to, but to do that, I need to have more people supporting me on Patreon. I was thinking about trying to see if I could raise up to $500 through Patreon. If anybody wants to support me, it is patreon.com/square and compass. All I would need is 10 $50 members, or heck, one $500 member. See what you guys can do. Planted my potato starts today. That is awesome. What would you say is the easiest, or sorry, the hardest vegetable to grow? Um, out of curiosity. I've already seen that, and that was not cool. I mean, you should not do that to anybody's religious items. I don't care if it's a statue of Jesus or Allah or whatever it might be. Not okay, period. Um, Beans. What is it about beans that's so tough? And by the way, if anybody, so I'm not, but I'm being sent some seeds pretty soon. I'm going to learn how to grow them, so that should be fun. By the way, how to investing? Hold on just one second. How does April 28th sound for an interview? If that sounds good to you, what I will do is I will send you a link. Or actually, would you want to do live together on April 20, Sunday, April 26th at 6 p.m. my time, which would be, I think, 4 p.m. your time? Confused about what? And who is Daniel? Um, so I've never grown any plants before, but I do plan to. And actually, I wrote about this. All right, high altitude. I'll send you something via email shortly. Are you on Discord, by the way? You can find me there. What was I going to say? I did actually do a bit of a story on this and posted it in the video description. One thing we as Freemasons can do is look at using any green spaces in and around our buildings to create, more environmentally friendly spaces by planting native plants. Could be flowers. Heck, we could even look at growing, having community gardens in and around our buildings. That would be really fun as well. And I've, living, what's the word I'm thinking of? Living fences, like shrubs, bushes, flowers, instead of physical fences. Maybe plant a small garden. It'd be really fun. It'd be really interesting as well. Maybe junior wardens plant a small garden in front of their or behind their Masonic building and maybe use some of the vegetables to feed their guys. Make sure they're getting healthy food, as well as other ways we can support the earth and be environmentally friendly. So I'm in Windsor, Half Moon. Please hit like and subscribe. Never done ayahuasca cruise, but I know some Masons who have. I think in some cases it's considered kind of a um, considered kind of a therapeutic um, therapeutic benefit to it. That's as well, Jeremy. I agree. We could, I mean, first of all, we need to make sure we have Masons who know how to do that. But if we did, it would be really cool to see Masons like planting gardens and hosting community events where we talk about the gardens, why we planted them, what's working, what's not. Kind of like the questions I ask you. That'd be really, really cool. I love California. California is incredible. And you guys have been doing some great stuff there. You should be proud of the work you're putting in through your various lodges. So keep up the great work and hit that like and subscribe button if you can. If you're already subscribed, consider a super chat, just $2, or consider supporting my Patreon. That would be incredibly helpful as well, and I'd be grateful. Oh, absolutely. There are some incredible Masons in California. I've been to both Los Angeles and San Francisco. I loved them both greatly. They were both really beautiful. San Francisco, I feel like it's a really bad rap, but it's a really cool city. At least when I was there, I loved it. Pink. My favorite color is pink. So, in honor of Brett the Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. How can one join Freemasonry? It's not invite only. You don't need to be invited to join. In fact, you shouldn't be invited. That's not how it works. You should be joining of your own free will and accord. So, what you need to do is approach the Masonic Lodge within your area and express your interest in joining. Um, you can send them an email, you can visit them in person. But if you're going to visit them in person, make sure you bring with you a letter with your contact info because they may not be present or they may be too busy to speak with you. But at least you can give them that letter and they'll find you, at another time or contact you when they're more available. Usually, if you go to Grand Lodge of California website, they will give you the contact information for the lodge in your area. I don't know what it means to be felony friendly. You shouldn't be committing felonies as a Freemason, that's for sure. If you made mistakes in your past, which happens, and you're trying to grow from it, or you've changed, or you've improved your life, you can apply to be a Mason. Depending on the nature of the felony and how severe it was, they may or may not, accept your application or accept you into the crowd, but you can still try. Don't do the work for the lodge. It's up to them to decide. All you can do is, first of all, try to make amends for any felonies you've created or any felonies you've done. Serve your time, do your community service, pay your restitution, try to make better choices, and then explain what you've done and how you've changed your life to the Masonic Lodge, and you go from there, right? That is kind of all you can do. No worries, Half Moon. Like I said, if you're new to this stream, please hit like, please hit subscribe. I would be incredibly appreciative. And if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear it. So, no, I mean, I've known Masons who have criminal records who join Freemasonry. Now, again, if you are a Mason and you commit a felony, then you should be suspended because as a Mason, you are, expected to be held to a certain standard. But if you've made mistakes in the past and are changing your life, that's different. So I guess that's my answer for whatever it's worth. That's awesome. And that's a really good thing. That's a really good thing to kind of remember for us as Freemasons, right? Like, it's up to us and it's our responsibility to demonstrate to others that we are good men. I think one of the biggest dangers, and one of the most dangerous things we can do is forget that, thank you, How to Investing, is forget that we represent the craft as a whole. So the way we act is going to reflect on others. That doesn't mean you be a shirking or a shrinking violet or anything like that, obviously. And that doesn't mean you don't stand on principle and even not be afraid to throw down if you feel being disrespected. But that does mean you have to remember that how you act will be recognized by others. And you are welcome. How is your channel going, by the way, High Altitude? I see you pretty frequently, so it seems like you must be doing pretty well also. You're popping up in my feed a fair bit, which is awesome to see. And I hope everybody watching this will check out your channel.
At High Altitude Investing number 11 United States dollar and 99 cents. Thanks for your consistency, brother.
There you go, text to speech. Technically it was US $1.99, but that was over $2 Canadian. So you get the text to speech app. Not even for $1, Matthew Owens. Well, I'm a well-behaved Mason, but also well-behaved Masons never make history. If you know, you know. One thing I will say, if I could get this thing, I'm going to take your question a little bit seriously, Matthew Owens. If you decide you want to change, do illegal, immoral, degrading act in terms of to get money, there's a great book by Stephen King. It's actually a short story. I can't think of the name of it now, but it's about this rich man, and he offers a couple, I think it's like $1 million, if they punch a child in the face. All they have to do is go to a playground and punch a random child in the face, and he'll pay them $1 million. And it seems like, what's the big deal? Who cares? They end up taking the $1 million and doing it. But then they spiral down further and further into pretty bad places. It's one of those things where once you start to put aside your morals or moral qualms for money, it's ultimately very dangerous. And that's a Stephen King lesson, but that's also a lesson I think we see in life very frequently. I'm going to look it up if I can find the name of it. Stephen King's story, Woman Punches Kid for Money. Morality. There it is. It's called Morality. It was published in 2009. It was also included as a bonus story in Blockade Billy, a novella published May 25th, and then in The Bazaar of Bad Dreams. It's a really good story. What if you split the money with the child? No, even then, you should not split the money. You should not do not punch people in the face, especially children, especially for money, just for their record. Because even a small thing, it can lead to moral decay, put it that way. I do remember the Langoliers. I remember the Langoliers, both the movie, which I liked, the television event, and the book. It's funny how we used to have these really great Stephen King produced miniseries, which I loved so much. The Shining, The Langoliers, The Stand. I miss those. They were incredible. Thank you, How to Investing, you as well. I'll get you something ASAP, but April 26th at 3 p.m. Sorry, 6 p.m. my time, which I think is 3 p.m. your time. Thank you, Half Moon. And yeah, thank you for the subscription. Thank you for hanging out. I mean, I enjoy Netflix, but you're not wrong. They were way better back in the day. I used to love those television events because they felt like real events. What is my goal? My goal for this channel is to turn my passion for Freemasonry into profession by producing content that produces an income. My goal for this stream is to promote the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to communities in which it's located, and to get more people checking it out and talking about Freemasonry, and just hanging out. And maybe my other goal for this stream, in some ways, is to get people thinking about asking their local libraries to actually stock Masonic books. Maybe even have a Masonic section. I would love to see that. I mean, which war? Unfortunately, there's a couple going on. I assume you're talking about Iran. I'm very sad it's happening. There's a lot more Freemasonry in the Middle East than people realize. Aside from the Grand Lodge of Iran in exile, there's Freemasons in Lebanon, there's Freemasons in Israel, there's Freemasons on military bases in Jordan. I don't want any of my brothers to be in harm's way. I also don't want any people to be in harm's way. I also don't like to see the economic toll it's taking on people. So please, everybody be safe. I'm happy there's a ceasefire. I hope it's extended forever. Um, it's really concerning to me to see what's happening. So it's also going to affect Freemasonry. Gas prices keep going up. People are going to be less inclined to want to go to their Masonic meetings. Um, we'll join Freemasonry and go from there. Join Freemasonry, then look at joining Scottish Rite. Um, that's true, but maybe they don't have the money to purchase. Libraries are excellent places to get books for free. You just borrow them and return them. I've got one here. This book is not about Freemasonry. It's from libraries. Oops, people can't see it. All right, there we go. I'm a big believer in local libraries. I think every Freemason should have a library card, should show support for their community. Having a library card is being neighborly, because library cards are the ways that people determine how popular a library is, and it's how they get their funding. So there you go. I have no legs. I will not shut up, David Fitzgerald. Although Fishta, I will say, you say book or web, it doesn't have to be either or. Many libraries have developed partnerships with with digital services, such as, and including, it's really, really cool, such as and including services like Hoopla, Canopy with the K. That's all through Windsor Public Library. Glenview has its own stuff as well. A lot of libraries are holding Zoom events. Windsor Library hosts a weekly horror movie discussion, monthly horror movie discussion called Oh the Horror. We should all, as Freemasons, support our local libraries. And even if you're a part of the community, you should support local libraries. Thank you for the star, Lapis. David, some people are joining my club. It's not a cult, because Freemasonry is not a cult. But if you want to join this channel, become a member. I am a 3rd degree Master Mason. I'm also 18th degree Scottish Rite. I'm also a Worshipful Master. So there you go. Not everybody on YouTube is kind, high altitude investing, which you should. I mean, you're a YouTuber, so I'm sure you've experienced it just as much as me. It's unfortunate, but it's the nature of being a content creator. If you're going to be a content creator, you have no choice but to deal with kind of unhappy people. Wish it wasn't the case, but it is what it is, right? This human Laster, I'm going to call you human. This is about Freemasonry. I created Scoring Comes Promotions to promote the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, as well as to discuss topics of Masonic interest, and to turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. I'm not begging anybody to join. People can join or not join. It's completely up to them. Joining my channel does not make you a Freemason. It helps me keep this channel going. I think I'm not begging for people to join. I am hoping for Freemasonry to grow in relevance, though. I think that's incredibly important. I think the more relevant Freemasonry is, the better it will be for society, for the world. I would not be comfortable streaming a mass, because it's not my thing to stream, right? But I know other churches do, and that's awesome for them. The Illuminati is not relevant. It hasn't really existed in a meaningful way for hundreds of, at least 100 years. And it's not Masonic. Illuminati and Freemasons are completely different organizations. Um, I don't know why you would get blackballed, John Doe, but why assume? Apply. Don't even apply. Just go to the lodge, express your interest in joining, talk to the guys, talk to them about the concerns you have, like why you think you might be blackballed, and you go from there, right? That's all you have to do is express your interest in joining Freemasonry, explain why you're interested in joining Freemasonry, explain what you've done, maybe that you why you think you'll get blackballed. Let them decide for themselves. I always give the advice, don't do the work for the lodge, right? Don't assume what's going to happen. No challenging anyone to a duel. That's not what we're going to be doing. If anybody challenged me to a duel, the answer is no, and it's not going to increase my respect in you. So it's not even going to work. Um, well, don't do that either. Let's not be slapping people with gloves either. Duels should be legal. I mean, well, it sounds like you and Catholicism agree, but I would rather not have duels be legal for the record. I think that would be very bad. No, that's one of those misconceptions. To be a worshipful master, you need to be a third degree, a master mason, because third degree is the highest degree within Freemasonry. I am not I mean, I guess technically I'm a Christian, like my family's Anglican, but I would not call myself a Christian. I believe in a supreme being. My supreme being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry and through science. I don't know how to write a book, but I know how to read them, and I like reading them a lot, but you know. No, because my family are all Masonic. Like my dad's a Mason, my grandfather's a Mason, both my grandfathers are Masons. I'm a Mason. So my mom, her husband, son, father, and father-in-law were all Freemasons, as is one of my uncles. So they all kind of get and understand Freemasonry quite well. Um, no, not in my experience. I've never really met Anglicans who have anything negative to say about Freemasonry. Like from Sons of Anarchy. I just been watching that show lately. Again, no, but I'll take it. Most people call me ugly. That is, I mean, I don't think most Catholics are against, but certainly the Catholic Church as an organization is against Freemasonry. I think in a doctrinal sense. Um, Ginger beer, high altitude investing. I love ginger beer. It's incredible. Um, what happened? Meow. What happened now? Just talking about Freemasonry. Let me know if you have any thoughts on it. Let me know if you've ever borrowed a Masonic book from your local library. So far, no's are at 78%, yes at 22%. If you've never borrowed a Masonic book from your local library, why not contact the local library and ask them to stock the shelves with some Masonic books? My suggestion would be Freemasonry for Dummies by Chris Hodapp. It would be a great book to start with. I, Idwan, Freemasonry is a fraternal and a civic organization that has existed for over 300 years. Think about it like a social club, but a very old social club, a very traditional social club, a club that has a lot of really cool parts to it, a lot of really cool things within it. So, Freemasonry welcomes men of all different faiths, backgrounds, beliefs. They could be Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh. So, sure, just like me, I don't care what ethnicity you are, I don't care what religion you are, I just care about you as a human being. It's the internal qualifications that matter. High altitude investing, ginger beer. That's my favorite soda besides Coke. Actually, come to think about it, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite right now. Let's see. to go check out the Windsor Public Library. How could one join? To be one, ask one, Benji. You need to find a Masonic Lodge in your area and express your interest in joining. That's the first step. There's a process after that, but you need to take the first step by approaching a Masonic Lodge in your area and asking them if they want to, asking them about joining, explaining you're interested in joining and you'd like to learn more about it. Sometimes you can visit an open house as well. You're not going to, be part of it right away. It takes time. You got to know the guys, they get to know you. But the first step is you send an email, give a call, or just knock on the door and express your interest in joining. Where in the New England area, if you don't mind my asking, Ben? So here's what's interesting. When I typed in Freemasonry into the Windsor Public Library catalog, Massachusetts. How do you spell Massachusetts? Jeez. Okay, here we go. Boston has incredible Masonic history. Absolutely incredible. So if you go to massfreemasonry.org, MASS freemasonry.org, you'll come to the homepage. There's a section called Become a Freemason. There's a section that talks about finding a lodge. Start with that. That's a great place to go. So that's massfreemasonry.org. You cannot pay your way into Freemasonry. Anybody who tells you that you can is trying to scam you. Do not try to pay your way into Freemasonry. It's not going to work. But Ben, massfreemasonry.org. Ben, I hope you'll hit like and subscribe. Consider a super chat if you can. Help me turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. I would truly appreciate it. So there's 27 results found for the term Freemasonry at the Windsor Public Library. So that's nice. If I go to my other favorite library in the world, Glenview Public Library, let's see how many they have. 9 results, so not as many. But this is one book, whereas the Windsor Public Library has branches all across the city. I actually went to law school. I don't practice law, but I did go to law school. Thank you for the sparkles. I appreciate that very much. Once again, any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear you. The reception, most lodges don't have reception desks, to be honest. It can happen, but most lodges don't. But sometimes I will take people on tours of the building or show people around. Sure, MMA fighters could be Freemasons. In my experience, MMA fighters or martial artists are very often some of the most dedicated, good, kind of honorable people. So absolutely they could be. And it would be awesome to see them be part of the lodge. How many presidents? 15 is the most likely answer. It could be as high as 16 if you count Joe Biden, though that's disputed. So I think 15 is the safer answer. I already look so cool that if I got a mullet, I wouldn't leave any women for the rest of you guys. So, nope. I'm going to stick to this. There is no connection between the Freemasons and the Mafia. Some people bring up P2 Lodge. That was in Italy, but they weren't a recognized Masonic lodge. I couldn't join them or sit with them, put it that way. So, no legitimate connections. Nope, new members don't have to make a speech. Usually after your initiation, it is the case that you can ask, you might be asked to say a few words. You can decline and say you don't like public speaking, you get nervous. You can just say thank you. You can kind of do whatever you want. It's up to you. So you don't have to make a speech though. No, I mean, I think George Washington would support a lot of those things. I mean, I'm not an expert on the founding fathers, but they were not for just complete liberty. They were for well-ordered liberty, right? I don't think they would support, the ability for someone to be drunk and drive a car. First, they'd have to understand what a car is, what it means to drive, what intoxication means. They understand that. I don't think, though, I think they would be understanding that there needs to be some kinds of expectation on people holding community standards. Right? What was the famous quote by, I think it was Ben Franklin, if I recall correctly, that the Constitution was designed for a moral people. A moral people need to be compliant with and obey things such as laws that protect others. Um, no, America should not be a Catholic monarchy. America is just fine the way it is. Um, Well, it depends, coach. I don't know enough about your status to say. I mean, are you paying your dues? If you're paying your dues every year, you should be okay. If you stop paying your dues, that's a different issue. Um, well, I think he was being sarcastic, and if he wasn't being sarcastic, no, that's wrong. Um, the leadership of a country should not be based on religion. It should be based on who's best for the job in a democracy, anyways. There are exceptions here and there. I understand some countries they can have more theological tenets, but as a general rule, I think certainly one of the greatest strengths of America is that it picks its leadership, in theory at least, based on qualifications, not on religion or religious beliefs. Um, so, no. Shrey, please hit like and subscribe. I mean, this is getting into a little bit political discussion points, but Shrey, I am going to answer that from a Masonic perspective, which is to say, one of the biggest dangers I think that we have is when we feel alone and we feel like we don't have a social safety net of any sort. It's easy for us to buy into more negative ideologies because if we cannot deal with our own lives and we feel insecure in our own lives, we feel like we're food insecure, housing insecure, medical insecure, whatever it is, we're in debt. We may buy into certain negative ideologies as a way to distract and as a way to give us an illusion of control, right? I can't feed myself, but my country can bomb another country, and that makes me feel powerful. Freemasonry gives people a social safety net, especially those who are poorer, right? It gives them a civic social safety net. It gives you not just a social safety net in the sense of being social with others and having emotional support, but in some cases, actual financial support and health support. Because of that, I think it makes sense to me that Freemasons would obviously help people avoid buying into more negative ideologies. Not saying it never happens, even with Freemasons, but I think it's less likely that they will become ideologically, have a certain type of negative ideology if they have at least some support through Freemasonry and knowledge that they can only fall so far before Freemasonry will kind of protect them or catch them in the Masonic safety net. Now, the Masonic safety net can't do it all alone. It needs help from others, but it can do what it can. And I think that kind of detracts from the allure. So please take a moment. If you're new to the stream, hit like and subscribe. Share this stream with others. It would be much, much appreciated. And we are getting close to 4,000 subs. I'm at 3,914. So we're going to see what we can do to get there, to get to 4,000. Still the Borrowed of Masonic library book. Heavily is still in the nose. I mean, I think it's just a way for people to distract from the problems in their own lives. They feel like they can't deal with it. Thinking about problems halfway around the world is one type of coping mechanism. I think that's also why so often what you see is, um, unfortunately, people falling into conspiracy theories for the same reason. They don't know how to fix the problems in their own life, but they know about conspiracy theories and they feel like they can use those to, I don't know, gain some type of control. I can't solve my own problems. I can fight those Masons type of attitude. Well, I definitely disagree with that, Nam, and I agree taxes can be good. Taxes are a tool. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're negative. It depends on how they're utilized and for what purpose and to what extent, which is true for most things in life and most types of government resources. I do think sometimes, though, taxation is a blunt instrument that's used far too often as a way to try to solve social ills. There's better ways to go about things sometimes. But it is good to fund things like libraries and fire trucks. It's actually great things. Whatever you say, I can't imagine how taxation is theft because I like my roads and I don't think they can be funded privately. I mean, look, and there's something to be said. Like, I'm a Freemason. I believe that before government steps in to help people, community should do that first and foremost. That's one of the things I love about Freemasonry is it helps its people so the government doesn't have to, and helps community so government doesn't have to. But there's only so much an individual can do, right? And at a certain point, taxation is necessary. Shrey, I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of oil shortages due to the war in Iran, and I think it's affecting Europe and India. Sorry, it's affecting Asia first, followed by Europe, followed by at a certain point Canada and United States. It's going to come our way too. It's already affecting the price of oil. Um, Bad faith actors are always manipulating things, unfortunately. Um, yeah, but a lot of people might get harmed in the process of that, so it's not clear the best approach to take on that. But I agree with you. Usually, people dealing with the consequences of their action can be a pretty great way to, have them deal with those consequences. I mean, Matt, there's a philosophical argument um, in favor of a mandatory draft. I think philosophically it can make sense, but because it would force the government to only or exclusively engage in battles that had a broad range of support. Like you can't just engage in any battle if there's mandatory draft because the public will revolt. You need to know you have the public support right from the get-go. Otherwise, it's not going to go well. But I'm generally speaking not a fan of it because I think at the end of the day, people are always able to buy themselves out of it, and that just creates resentments. Um, you can support Trump, whatever, and Catholicism, you don't have to. I personally don't, but people can choose to support him or not. I personally am no fan of Donald Trump. I don't think his it's going to work, but that's my personal opinion. It's not a Masonic opinion, right? There are some Masons who support Donald Trump, some who don't. Most of the time, I would have no idea because we're not allowed to discuss religion or politics in lodge, which you need to keep in mind. All right, we are about, looks like we're an hour, looks like we're about an hour in, so we're going to be ending this stream. I'm gonna have a busy, very busy next few days. Um, and so my streams are probably gonna be a little bit shorter, maybe less frequent. Still enjoying them though. Still gonna enjoy doing them. And we'll still talk about a lot of cool stuff with it, but might be a little bit shorter. Still gonna be 1 a.m., 1 p.m. I'll plan to go on with high altitude investing Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, my time. Talk about cryptocurrency. I don't know what predictive history is, but maybe. All right, talk to you guys later. Thank you all for having an X for being here. Thank you all for helping my stream grow. It's been wonderful to see. Let's keep up the good work. All right, guys, talk to you soon.